All right, it is 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. All members are present. We will proceed. There were 2 additions to the agenda, but they will be covered on. We'll be looking for a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Bruce, seconded by Gerald. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. No public comment that I'm aware of. Moving on to the consent agenda.
Cheryl, do you want to go through bills?
Yep, I was able to go in and go through the bills today. I see they did some crack sealing on our tracks, so it's a constant updating, but it's keeping things workable and usable. And we got some more new iPads for kindergarten and first grade. That's an ongoing thing also, but they're keeping up in rotation, so it doesn't all hit us at once. Replacing iPads and Chromebooks and whatnot. And our summer unemployment costs came in.
Correct.
So
That's our July through, it's July, August, September. June is included on the previous payment.
we're not getting reimbursed with anything from the state anymore,
No, we are getting a partial reimbursement on this one. Yep.
because that's quite a chunk. So.
How much is it?
$50,790.48. But we're getting part of it reimbursed at least.
And that's for all hourly staff, that are, that would be not working in the summer.
And we had from our fire built donation, 2 new lathes came in for woodworking.
Wow.
Those were the notable items that I found.
As far as personnel and hires, there's a couple of hires and resignations, and then you'll see our first retirement for next school year. Ron Fuchs has given us his notice, and he's planning for his retirement. So I'd stand for any questions on personnel items. Otherwise, we'll move on to donations.
I do think it was kind of nice that Ron Fuchs did that early.
Yeah.
Give you guys plenty of time to plan for next year.
And he respectfully asked if that was something that would be helpful. And I said, it is up to you when you decide to do this, but I think he just felt really good about it and was ready. So congratulations to Ron. In regards to donations, you're going to see quite a few. I'm going to cast this one so that everybody can see. There are quite a few donations to acknowledge in October here. You're going to see a number of elementary school fundraiser donations. Those are really the checks that come in instead of people buying from the fundraiser. They've just donated money, and so there's acknowledgement on it. It still goes into the same funding source as the revenue that comes in through the fundraiser, but it's just acknowledged a little bit differently. You're going to see a donation from in the amount of $10,000 toward the early childhood playground, in addition to some additional money from the community foundation. I do want to just again acknowledge the really the depth and the breadth of community support that has come in for our playground has just been it's just been phenomenal. And so I'm just really grateful, and I want to take just an extra minute to say thank you. So just again, an acknowledgement of people in our community supporting our school district. And it's a really nice way for us to just take a moment and pause and say thank you. Other than that, that's the consent agenda, and I'd stand for any other questions.
I'll make a motion to approve this consent agenda.
Motion by Thomas,
Second.
second by Gerald.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to communication items.
So administrative report, a couple of things I'm going to share with you. And first is just a quick look at our enrollment snapshot. So you'll see this periodically throughout the school year, and I'll make it big. So again, just kind of as a reminder, the way that this works is on the 15th and the 1st of the month, we really take a look at what is our enrollment and the fluctuation. Why I think this is important for board members and community members to see is the fluidity of our student enrollment. And so you can see on September 15th, we had 405 students, and that's from early childhood special education through our senior class. And as of October 15th, we had 402. So it just, again, is kind of that reminder of the fluidity and fluctuation. But I also think this document is really helpful to help people understand a little bit of the complexity in how we measure and calculate and count students within our school district. And so you kind of see off to the right, and as we progress throughout the school year, you'll see more of this information calculating, because each student is weighted differently, and we get a different amount of funding. So I just wanted to share this as the first kind of snapshot for the school year and put this out, and I'll bring us back a number of times throughout the school year. But again, this was just the first one updated through the 15th of October. Also, I'm going to, so number 2 is just really a heads up and kind of an impact with the federal government shutdown. Currently, we have not experienced any delay in funding. Our allocations, what was allocated has been flowing. But I do think it is important to just share that our food service program and some of our programs that are grant funded, the staff that were there to manage those grants have been furloughed, and they're not, some of them have been a reduction in force. And so I'm not sure how that's going to pan out. I'm watching it very closely. But at this moment in time, we've not had any impact. But I do think it's important just to share with you what our federal revenue looks like. So I'm going to share this. And if anybody is curious, I'm going to show you where I got this from the Minnesota Department of Education website. Because you might want to look at how we compare to some of our neighboring districts. So it's kind of interesting. Let's see. Okay, so for our school district, we receive this is based on the 23-24 school year. Federal funding is a reimbursable funding structure. So we have to spend the money, and then we have to seek reimbursement from the federal government. And this is based on our 23-24 expenditures that are closed out. So 4.3% of our total budget, $664,251 approximately, is our federal funding. So what does that look like? So some of the funds that we receive our Perkins grant money that supports our career and technical education programs, our special education federal reimbursement, which supports a lot of our services through the West Central Education District, funding that comes in to support our title program. Those are some of the programs, the grant programs that are federally funded. You'll also see that the food program is reimbursed through the USDA, and you'll see that we've had 189,329 free school meals. So again, that's the 23-24 school year. So what they also are just kind of equating that to is that this would be an equivalent of about 6 teacher salaries. Ours isn't, and I'll be really clear, ours is not that, it's not that clean, and it's not that easy to just say this would be our solution. We utilize our federal money in a very, in my opinion, we're very efficient with our money to make sure that we can fill positions and make things partial positions whole. So I just want to be clear, it's not 6 pure teachers. We do have a fluctuation of how that's applied to our district. So if you want to see where that came from, I've got the next link in there, and you'll see that the Minnesota Department of Education has put together a federal update website. I'm going to share this too, because as community members are watching, they might like to see where this is coming from. So this really did a breakdown of how, what the federal impact is across the state. And so these are just some different updates from the Commissioner of Education. And then at the bottom, you're going to see every school district across the state. So if you were curious about another school district, you can go on there and take a look, and you'll see the same document summary that I just showed you for Paynesville. Okay. So it's really a good, I guess, awareness of what that federal impact is. Again, like I said, we've not experienced a delay in funding yet. We've not experienced any withholding of funds because the grants that have been processed have been held whole through October. November 1st is really kind of the timeline, especially for our National School Lunch Program that we're keeping an eye on because that is part of the USDA. And there's been some, in the last week and a half, there's been some changes about how they can fund that or not fund that, whether they can access emergency money, not access emergency money. So I'm just keeping it on my radar. I'm certainly watching it closely. And if anything becomes really prominent and important, I certainly will reach out to board members and let you know. But I just wanted also to give you a heads up, the information that I'm getting and kind of share that with you just from an administrative update. Lastly, just looking back at this month, we had our school custodian day. I know that Mrs. Akerson and Mr. Rasmussen spoke to that a little bit at the last during their updates. But again, just grateful for our custodians. They do a lot of work around here that really goes unnoticed and unappreciated. And so we have an opportunity to say thank you. National Coach and Advisor Day. We added that this year. Last year that wasn't on our list, but certainly our coaches and advisors provide a lot of support and opportunities for our kids that really is fundamental in their school experience. So thank you to them. Our National Fire Prevention Week, that's always a big deal, especially at the elementary. There's so much, I think, positive awareness surrounding what our firefighters do and how they support our community. And it's really a nice way to just say thank you and appreciate the work of our firefighters, in addition to raise awareness on fire prevention. World Day of Bullying is also a bullying prevention. That's not a good place to stop. The World Day of Bullying Prevention is also in October. So at the elementary, you may have seen like the kindness chalk at the front, just about being kind and reminding kids how important it is to just treat each other kindly. And then we had School Bus Safety Week in the month of October as well. So that's what I have for the administrative report. I'm not going to pull up the revenues and expenditures. There's not a significant amount of changes to those this month, but unless somebody would like me to do so, I am happy to do that. But those are there for your reference to check the revenues and expenditures through September 30th. Okay.
Moving on to the committee organizational report.
We had the staff development meeting. That went very well. Again, I'm just very pleased with how this group of certified staff come together, how they work out things, how they set things up for those 2-hour late starts on what's going to be taught. And I mean, as far as within the certified staff, as far as keeping things current, so just a great group of certified staff to come together and operate with that. So it definitely helps out the students. So and they do have that in mind, as far as the end user, the student being the ones that will benefit from the and we also had the district advisory committee, the first one for this school year, and I think it worked out really great. I don't know if Bruce was there as well, but it's starting to set things up for the strategic plan, getting ready to look at that, see where we're at, where we're going, and it's always great to have something where you can do the check and adjust. And one of the things that did come up that we did talk about as far as state testing and the importance of students taking that test to really provide great information. I mean, as far as what the health of our school district is based off of that. And Cassie and Jess did a great job presenting Fast Bridge data and that comparison, so of those standards. So Bruce, I don't know if you had anything to add with that.
Well, we have the Fast Bridge, and I love that program from the standpoint of sitting here, because I believe we do as well with our students as anybody does.
Yeah.
Frustrating to me is the MCAs and the tie to the MCAs. If you take the elementary school compared to the high school, it's two different pictures. And then the idea of getting zeros for everybody that doesn't take it. I mean, with the number of students we have a few zeros, throws everything off. But my biggest issue, and it will remain, and it's always has been, is we often hear that the MCA is a point in time and all the various reasons that maybe that's invalid. But if somebody's coming to this district from somebody else, that's where they're gonna look to see how you're doing. So it doesn't make any difference what we all think about it. We somehow have to either have a method to have them understand what our Fast Bridge is saying, or we gotta fix that program. Because comparing ourselves around, there's not much anybody around us has to offer that we don't. And when I look at our Fast Bridge, our numbers should be way over the top of where it's at, which would be a great thing. 4 lanes through, we can use more people.
Yep.
And I go back to what I said, I just saw the school numbers again. So I'll look back one of these days when I first came on the school board, how many students we had in the school, and it was quite a bit over 1,000. And now it's 900. So my personal feel for all the years that I've tried to help on the school board is I have failed because we lost 120 kids. You know what I mean? And I can come up with a million excuses why, but it's still reality. And how do we steer that ship and get on a growth spurt? And we actually had it just before COVID. We were adding kids in here like crazy, and we actually had a hire. In my mind, the best thing can happen to us is we need to hire more teachers. Seriously, that's our indicator for everything.
Right.
And I don't know, it's been very frustrating to me. Even when I've not necessarily wanted to be running for this position,
Yeah.
I've told people, hey, I might not be your candidate. This is what's happened to the school population and I'm part of it. And we weren't successful in steering the ship.
I think, yeah, I think one last thing on Fast Bridge, especially those parents that are out there, if you really want to have an understanding of our certified staff, our teachers here, our paras that are here, and what they're doing for their students, take a look at that Fast Bridge data and get an understanding of how things kind of shift, during those 3 test periods and then going into the following school year. Because we have just a phenomenal group of teachers, phenomenal group of paras that are taking care of the student here.
Sure.
Both our principals are well informed of what that says.
Yeah.
So if there's somebody in the public that has questions about our school performance, I give them a call.
Yep.
I mean, we have to get to where we're not a closed doors here. We should, if there's issues in the public or somebody has questions, they should just give us a call, because if we can talk to them, it's a whole different picture.
Right.
Yeah, the one piece that I think our teams have also done a nice job with is sending that information home and opening the door for the communication so that parents see when a student has an assessment there, they get a report and they get kind of here's what it said and here's what you can do with that. And I think that's been something that's been a very proactive approach to do just that, to open the door of communication and invite families in. So, yeah.
We also had meet and confer. And I have to say, changing it from being just a calendar committee,
Mhm.
which it was previously, has really opened the teachers up to discussions and not so much complaints as talking to us about tweaks that we can do or working problems out between the high school and the elementary and middle. It's really got communication going. The first meeting was kind of a, I don't know, what are we going to do? And this last meeting it was very open discussion, and I really, really think that this was the way to go. This was great. This is what I thought it should be in the first place. And we first started our first discussion about the calendar, of course.
Sure did. Yep.
But I'm just impressed that you got it switched around to what it should have been.
Well, I think teachers are, if they see it as a valuable place to bring concerns and we can have conversation, it'll continue to be functional.
Thank you.
Staff met, staff meeting on
Friday?
Friday. Yeah, a couple of good presentations, early year information that they put out, surveys that were completed over this, I believe mostly over the summer or late fall or early fall, whatever. Just local Minnesota surveys across the state and, just some interesting information there. Then they talked about local operating revenue. They talked about a few things and then the general staff, updates. So a lot of points were interesting. A few points were interesting. But
Yep. That's a really good way to say it. Just change the intonation.
Go ahead.
Community ed met last week, Tuesday, coordination between different groups that sometimes our missions overlap, so there's just ways to work together, possibly make things bigger, just share resources. Another big thing, Monday, we got our, big, real childhood, care, RCCIP, I forget what the whole acronym is, big event for that, so.
Town hall, yep.
Which, do
There's-
people still sign up for that?
The registration is closed, but there are 40 community members that are registered, so I'm hoping that we have some good dialogue and discussion.
Yeah.
With regard to negotiations, each group has met at least twice now,
Mhm.
so we're progressing in that way. So,
We have been busy.
yes, we have. Any further? Okay, next up, student representative.
For NHS, 100% sure what they were doing, because in all honesty, I kind of forgot the meeting was this week and not next week. But for student council, I know we're just trying to get things set up for just all our upcoming events and everything. And then for FFA, we have a fruit sale going on right now. And we're getting practices set up so we can get ready for state.
Moving on, there's no old business, moving on to new business. First up, property tax abatement resolution.
So this item is a follow-up to the hearing that took place on the 14th. As you'll see in the notation that there's not been any further comment received through the district office. So really this is what is the will of the board in relation to the tax abatement resolution.
I'll make a motion. Is it written out, it's the rest of the week, for the resolution for adoption.
Motion by Bruce,
I'll second.
second by Cheryl. It's a roll call vote.
Bruce,
Aye.
Cheryl, I, Jacob,
I,
Rachel,
Aye.
Thomas,
Aye.
Daryl,
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to the assurance of compliance.
So this is a document that's also going to look familiar, but I'm going to share this. So in years past, this used to be a physical document that the board would sign and we would walk through. They have now shifted and this is a document that I have to go in and complete after the board meeting, which seems kind of awkward to me. So it's kind of hard to know how to put this in here because it has to be filled out, but yet I don't want to check the box that we made the assurance when we haven't really made the assurance. So you're going to see gaps and I'll explain why that is. I do need to make that a little bit bigger. And so for my benefit, we'll make it big and the rest of you can say thanks.
I was fine.
Yeah. So none of this, the top information is different. It's been what it has been year over year. Mandated reporter training is also the same as it has been year over year. This is just a good spot to stop and remind everybody that works in the school district, all of us are mandated reporters. Which means that if we have any reason to believe or suspect that a student is being maltreated or abused, it is our obligation to report that. Never our obligation to investigate, it's purely our obligation to report. And I think it's really important that they call that out because anyone who works for a school district is covered. And I think that's, sometimes we think, well, that's not my job, but when we work for a school, it's everyone's job. Okay? So you're going to see just the number of employees that are rounded there. Harassment and violence policy, we did this in September of 24, I believe it is. So this date will be changed because I have to put the date that it was revised and upload it, but I can't upload it until I actually upload it. And then this is where I'm just going to kind of pause and walk through. So when you hear about school districts that receive federal funding. The reason we can receive federal funding is because we agree to abide by all of these federal laws. Okay, so you're going to see title laws, which are going to be our civil rights. It's going to be our Title IX. It's going to be anti-discrimination. You're going to see Section 504, which is the Adults with Disabilities Act, and that's pertinent to not only our student body, but it's also pertinent to our staff. That's why we work through reasonable accommodations for adults. You'll see the Adults with Disabilities Act, which is what drives our special education funding. And then you'll see some of the others that are probably not quite as pertinent to, and we may not see them quite as often. But it's an equal educational opportunity, Fair Housing Act, Age Discrimination Act, and prohibition of discrimination based on blindness. So those are the federal laws that we as a school district agree that that's part of my job as a superintendent, and then that's your job as a board when you review policy to make sure that we are in compliance with all of those areas. State laws, you're going to see some of these overlap. The Minnesota Human Rights Act is, it's actually a very prominent human rights act in the state of Minnesota, which carries some additional protections for individuals than above and beyond federal law. You'll see that we have the student bullying, which is we have extensive policy and procedures around that. That's related to the state laws that you see here. You're going to see anti-discrimination and harassment for sex, race, religion. Again, that's a Minnesota statute in addition to federal law. You're going to see an anti-discrimination for athletic programs. You're going to see inclusive education program. So those are all the Minnesota rules and regulations that we agree to, in addition to the federal laws. And this is how, when I check all those boxes, then I'm able to say that we have affirmed as a school district that we're going to be in compliance with those rules and regulations.
I'll make a motion to approve the assurance of compliance information as presented.
Motion by Bruce,
Second.
second by Gerald, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to the Stearns County Family Services Collaborative Joint Powers Agreement.
So you're going to see this agreement has been signed. It was signed in April. But this is kind of the authorization for us to be part of that Stearns County Family Services, which is really the place that we receive funding that supports and serves our co-located mental health providers. And Rachel, I believe, sits on the collaborative on the Joint Powers Board. And it really is this generates funding based on individuals who are serving students that might be at risk of out-of-home placement, or they might be dealing with some pretty significant mental health concerns. And so the number of encounters across our state generates a set number of, I guess, dollars that are distributed throughout our collaborative. And so this agreement is for us to be part of that collaborative.
I'll make a motion to approve the Stearns County Family Services Joint Power Agreement as presented.
I'll second.
Carol, second by Thomas. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Moving on to the MSHSL Form A grant application.
So this is another annual document that you are going to see. This allows us to access some funding to support our activity programs. It's an annual grant that we apply for, and the board has to authorize that approval.
I introduce a motion to accept it as adopted.
Motion by Ron,
I'll second.
second by Cheryl. Roll call vote. Bruce.
Aye.
Cheryl.
Aye.
Jacob.
Aye.
Rachel. Aye. Thomas.
Aye.
Cheryl.
Aye.
Ron.
Aye.
Hearing no opposition, motion carries. And then moving on to the review of the upcoming meetings.
The one I do want to call out, if you just want to make a special note that Monday, November 10th, again, that's a midday board meeting. That's when our students will be from the elementary and the secondary. And then also just remember that board meeting will be a little bit longer because that will be our first session with our strategic planning facilitator to kind of talk the board through the process. You guys will have an opportunity to speak to, where you'd like to, things you'd like them to consider. So again, if you have an opportunity to review our existing strategic plan, kind of leading up to it, I think that would be helpful. Be thinking about, we did some of this work at the district advisory committee, but also be thinking about community members that we want to make sure are at the table to have conversation around strategic planning. So that's the one I wanted to call out. And the reason it's on the 10th is because Veterans Day is the 11th. I told Jesse. Yeah, I had my dates all mixed up when I had to call in them. It's inside. I'll just.
For a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Gerald, second by Ron. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned.